Imagine for a moment that the holiest object you own, your rosary, might be exposed to forces you cannot see. The world-renowned exorcist Father Fortea, known for confronting darkness head-on, revealed a detail that most Catholics completely overlook. The place where you keep your rosary can determine whether it becomes a shield of blessings or a doorway to spiritual vulnerability. This warning does not come from just any priest. Father Fortea has dedicated his life to the study of spiritual warfare. He has written books the Church itself recommends, and he has stood face to face with demonic forces that challenge faith at its deepest core. When a man with such authority gives us a warning about how we treat a sacred object, it is not a casual suggestion, it is an urgent call to awaken our spiritual awareness. Think for a moment. How many times have you left your rosary tossed on the bed, buried in a drawer, or mixed with ordinary objects? Without realizing it, you may have been neutralizing the spiritual power it carries. Father Fortea explains that the rosary, when treated with reverence and kept in the right place, becomes an invisible shield against evil, especially at night, when many souls are most vulnerable to spiritual attacks. Today you are going to discover the exact place where Father Fortea says your rosary must be kept, and why this simple act can completely change the atmosphere of your home. But before I reveal it, write in the comments, "I believe," because only those who truly believe in the power of the rosary will understand the depth of this teaching. Get ready. What you are about to hear may transform the way you live your faith every single night. Father Fortea often reminds us that the spiritual world is more real than most people dare to believe. Just because we cannot see the invisible does not mean it isn't shaping our daily lives. He has witnessed how demons exploit even the smallest cracks of negligence, and one of those cracks begins with how we treat the sacred. The rosary is not just a string of beads, it is a weapon, a spiritual sword forged through centuries of prayer, miracles, and tears of the faithful. Saints and mystics have testified that holding the rosary in your hands in moments of temptation can drive away the fiercest darkness. But here is the unsettling truth: when the rosary is left in a careless place, its protection can be diminished, leaving you exposed at your weakest hours. Father Fortea explains that the night is a battleground. While the body rests, the soul often becomes the target of subtle whispers and unseen attacks. Those who suffer from oppressive nightmares, sudden fear at night, or even unexplained disturbances in their homes may not realize that they are under spiritual pressure. And here lies the mystery: the placement of your rosary at night is not a minor detail, it is a declaration of where you stand in this unseen battle. Think about it. If you place your rosary under piles of clothing, or hidden in a drawer where it is forgotten, you are unconsciously treating it as something ordinary. But when you keep it in a place of honor, accessible and close to your body or the sacred symbols of your home, it radiates a silent power. Fortea calls it a visible sign that your faith is awake even when you sleep. This is why many priests and exorcists insist, do not underestimate the sacredness of small actions. Evil never sleeps, but neither does grace. And the choice of where your rosary rests tonight may determine whether your soul sleeps in peace or in conflict. Now you may be wondering, so where exactly must I keep it? Stay with me, because Father Fortea gave a precise answer to this question, one that may surprise you. Father Fortea has spent decades studying cases of possession, oppression, and subtle forms of spiritual attack. In his writings and conferences, he explains something that shocks many believers: the devil respects order, reverence, and sacred space, but he exploits negligence and irreverence. That is why the smallest gesture, like where you place your rosary, can become either a shield or a weakness. Throughout Catholic tradition, holy objects are never meant to be treated casually. We do not toss a crucifix in the corner, we do not bury holy water under piles of papers. These sacramentals carry grace not because of their material, but because they are instruments of faith, infused with centuries of prayer and consecration. The Rosary, above all, is a weapon of Mary herself, the woman who crushes the serpent's head. And this is where Father Fortea makes his revelation. He teaches that the Rosary should be kept in one of two places, either beside your bed, where you sleep, or hung near a crucifix or image of the Virgin Mary in your home. Why? Because these places mark a spiritual territory. They are not random. The bedside represents your vulnerability, the place where your body and soul rest. Placing the Rosary there is like arming yourself even in your sleep. But hanging it near a crucifix or Marian image goes even further. It declares, visibly, that your house is consecrated. Fortea has said many times that demons recognize signs of faith. A rosary left forgotten in a drawer is invisible to them. But a rosary placed beside the cross or near Our Lady is like a burning torch in the spiritual world, a signal that this home belongs to Christ. Think of the saints who slept with the rosary wrapped around their wrist, or who kept it under their pillow at night. They knew what Fortea confirms: the presence of the rosary close to your body creates a circle of grace, a spiritual perimeter no darkness can easily cross. So tonight, when you prepare to sleep, do not toss your rosary aside. Place it with intention, beside your bed or near the holy images in your home. That simple act could be the difference between a restless night and a night under divine protection. When you begin to treat the rosary with this kind of reverence, something profound happens, not only in the invisible spiritual realm but also within your own mind and heart. Father Fortea explains that faith is both a shield against evil and a balm for the soul. And the moment you decide to place your rosary intentionally, you are also reprogramming your inner world. Think about the nights when anxiety lingers, when dark thoughts creep in, or when you wake up suddenly at 3 a.m. with a feeling you cannot explain. These are the moments when many feel most alone, most defenseless. But imagine instead opening your eyes and seeing the rosary beside you, glowing softly with the memory of every Hail Mary you've ever prayed. Instantly, your mind recalls protection. Your heart remembers that you are not abandoned. The rosary becomes not just beads, but a visible anchor to peace. Psychologists often speak about the power of ritual and symbolism. When you repeat an act of reverence every night, your subconscious learns to associate that gesture with safety and trust. Father Fortea knew this well: the spiritual life is not separated from the psychological. A rosary placed near your bed becomes a nightly ritual of surrender, teaching both the soul and the mind that divine help is always near. This is why so many of the faithful testify that sleeping with the rosary or keeping it near holy images has changed their lives. Nightmares vanish. Fear dissolves. Children rest more calmly. Even the air of the house feels lighter, as if invisible chains have been broken. And all of this begins with one simple, sacred placement. Do you remember what we said at the beginning? That treating the rosary carelessly could neutralize its power. Now you can see the opposite: when you treat it with reverence, when you keep it close at night, you are amplifying its power, not because the beads themselves have magic, but because they are infused with your faith in God's grace. So the question is, tonight, will your rosary be forgotten in a drawer, or will it stand guard beside your bed, as Father Fortea taught? Now you understand why Father Fortea, one of the most respected exorcists of our time, insisted on something that may seem so simple: where you keep your rosary matters more than you think. Beside your bed, under your pillow, or near a crucifix or image of Our Lady, these are not random choices. They are declarations of faith, shields of grace, and signals to both heaven and hell that your home is consecrated. But remember, this is only the beginning. The rosary is not a charm, it is a weapon that must be used, prayed, and carried with devotion. Keeping it in the right place is a way of saying, even when I rest, my faith remains awake. That awareness transforms not only the atmosphere of your home but the strength of your soul. Countless testimonies confirm it. People who once battled nightly fear now rest in peace, children who suffered nightmares now sleep soundly, and households once filled with tension now radiate serenity. And all because of a simple yet intentional act. Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, do not leave your rosary hidden away. Place it with reverence, and let it stand as your silent guardian. But here is the mystery that lingers. Father Fortea also warned of something else, something few Catholics have ever heard. He spoke of houses marked by crosses, and how demons react to those visible signs of faith. What he revealed is not commonly taught from the pulpit, it is knowledge drawn from the front lines of exorcism itself. And that is what we will uncover in the next video. If you want to know how the sign of the cross on your home can repel darkness in ways you never imagined, make sure you are subscribed. Before you leave, write in the comments, "My rosary is my shield." Let this be your declaration, your mark of faith in this unseen battle. And never forget, in the silence of the night, the rosary speaks louder than the enemy.